As morning light crept across mountains, deserts, and rolling plains, the Great Wall stretched like a stone ribbon through northern China, quietly reminding travelers and villagers alike that Ming China believed preparation, patience, and planning mattered just as much as courage. The Great Wall did not appear overnight because it was the result of centuries of building, rebuilding, and repairing, shaped by earlier dynasties but carefully strengthened and expanded during the Ming period. Ming rulers faced constant pressure from nomadic groups beyond China's northern borders, which meant defense required long-term thinking rather than sudden reaction. Instead of relying only on armies moving quickly across vast distances, Ming leaders invested in fixed defenses that could slow enemies, warn communities, and protect farmland. The wall followed geography closely, climbing ridges, crossing valleys, and bending with the land rather than cutting straight lines. This design turned nature into an ally, making attacks more difficult and observation more effective. Stone and brick replaced earlier earth constructions in many sections because stronger materials meant durability against weather, time, and repeated conflict. Watchtowers punctuated the wall at regular intervals, creating a network of visibility rather than isolated barriers. From these towers, soldiers could see far across open land, sending signals using smoke by day and fire by night. Communication moved faster than riders alone, allowing warnings to spread quickly across regions. Garrisons stationed along the wall lived structured lives, balancing patrols, training, maintenance, and daily survival. Soldiers repaired sections, stored supplies, and practiced drills, understanding that defense depended on readiness rather than constant battle. Life along the wall often felt isolated, testing patience and morale more than bravery. Supplies arrived from nearby regions, tying the wall's survival to broader agricultural systems. Farmers supported soldiers through grain taxes, creating shared responsibility between frontier defense and interior stability. The Ming government carefully organized these systems because feeding an army mattered as much as commanding it. Military households passed service obligations through generations, blending family life with duty. Children near the wall grew up familiar with uniforms, signals, and stories of distant threats. Despite its size, the Great Wall was not meant to stop every enemy completely. Instead, it slowed movement, forced negotiation, and gave time for response. This strategy reflected practical understanding rather than mythic invincibility. Ming China itself thrived beyond the wall, filled with bustling cities, farms, canals, and markets. Beijing became a powerful capital, carefully planned to reflect order, hierarchy, and imperial authority. Wide streets, palaces, and ceremonial spaces reinforced the emperor's central role. The Forbidden City symbolized control and stability, housing rituals that structured political life. Court officials managed vast bureaucracies, relying on records, procedures, and education. Civil service exams selected administrators based on knowledge rather than birth alone. This system encouraged learning, discipline, and loyalty to state ideals. Confucian philosophy shaped governance, emphasizing order, responsibility, and moral behavior. Officials acted as mediators between emperor and people. Local administrators maintained order, collected taxes, and oversaw projects. Large public works reflected state power and coordination. Canals connected regions, moving grain efficiently. Roads allowed travel, communication, and administration. Trade flourished both internally and with distant lands. Porcelain, silk, and metal goods traveled widely. Markets buzzed with activity and exchange. Urban life contrasted with rural routine. Farmers worked fields using techniques refined over centuries. Seasonal rhythms guided planting and harvest. Rice and wheat sustained populations. Irrigation systems demonstrated engineering skill. Villages remained essential economic foundations. Families shared labor across generations. Festivals offered relief and celebration. Religion blended Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. Temples dotted landscapes, rituals structured time and belief. Art flourished through painting, pottery, and calligraphy. Storytelling preserved history and values. The Ming Navy explored distant seas briefly. Ships demonstrated technological sophistication. Maritime trade connected China regionally. Eventually, focus returned inland. Threats persisted along the frontier. The wall remained vital. Maintenance required constant effort. Neglect invited danger. Soldiers understood responsibility. Civilians respected vigilance. The wall shaped imagination as much as strategy. It symbolized protection and separation, yet it also represented connection, linking regions through shared defense. Ming China balanced openness with caution, strength combined with organization. Culture thrived alongside military readiness. As the Great Wall stood watch through seasons and generations, it framed a civilization that believed security, learning, and order must grow together, preparing Ming China for challenges ahead while leaving behind one of history's most enduring and fascinating structures. As time moved forward and conflicts shifted in scale and style, the lives of samurai continued to change, reflecting a world where their swords still mattered, but where governance, order, and reputation increasingly defined success beyond the battlefield. During long periods of peace, many samurai found themselves adjusting to quieter routines where patrols, paperwork, and ceremony replaced constant preparation for war, forcing warriors to redefine purpose without abandoning identity. This transition required discipline of a different kind because maintaining readiness without action tested patience, humility, and self-control more deeply than active conflict ever could. Samurai households adapted carefully, turning training yards into places of practice rather than urgency, while study rooms and administrative spaces grew in importance. Education became even more central since reading law, philosophy, and history allowed samurai to serve effectively as officials rather than fighters alone. Their authority rested increasingly on judgment and fairness, not only on physical skill. Villages experienced samurai presence more often through governance than violence, encountering them as tax collectors, judges, and protectors of order. This daily interaction required restraint because abusing power damaged reputation and stability. A samurai's conduct, therefore, shaped trust across entire regions. Honor remained the guiding force, influencing how decisions were made under scrutiny. Mistakes carried social consequences that could last generations. Public behavior mattered as much as private intention. Samurai continued practicing martial skills even during peace, understanding that ability fades without use. Sword practice emphasized precision, control, and awareness rather than raw strength. Archery remained a discipline of focus and patience. Horse training reinforced partnership rather than domination. These practices reminded warriors of balance between control and force. Armor became lighter for ceremony than for battle, reflecting symbolic presence. Clothing styles refined status signals subtly. Rituals reinforced hierarchy while preventing conflict. Tea ceremonies gained greater importance, teaching calm attention and respect. Every movement held meaning, every silence communicated discipline. Poetry and calligraphy offered reflection on impermanence. Samurai wrote about nature, loss, loyalty, and passing time. Through art, they processed responsibility. Religion continued shaping worldview, blending Shinto, Buddhism, and Confucian ideas. Spiritual practice offered structure during uncertainty. Meditation trained the mind for pressure. Acceptance of impermanence reduced fear. This philosophy affected leadership style. Decisions balanced firmness with awareness of consequence. Samurai families preserved lineage carefully, recording names, deeds, and values. Children grew up surrounded by expectation rather than indulgence. They learned that privilege demanded effort. Training continued across generations. Marriage strengthened alliances and stability. Women upheld family honor through management and resilience. Their influence remained essential. Samurai loyalty faced challenges during political shifts, testing adaptability. Changing alliances forced difficult choices. Some samurai lost status, becoming wanderers. Others rose through service and learning. Flexibility became survival skill. The ideal of Bushido evolved through storytelling rather than law. Legends emphasized loyalty and sacrifice. Reality remained more complex. Human ambition shaped outcomes. Over time, the arrival of new technologies and foreign influences challenged traditional warfare. Firearms altered battle strategies. Sword skill alone no longer guaranteed dominance. Samurai adapted gradually. Some resisted change. Others integrated new methods carefully. This tension shaped later history. Castles transformed further into administrative centers. Military readiness coexisted with bureaucracy. Records replaced battle cries. Authority relied on systems, yet symbols endured. The sword remained ceremonial. Honor still guided behavior. Samurai identity persisted even as roles shifted. When dramatic political change finally dissolved the samurai class, its values did not disappear. Principles of discipline, loyalty, and responsibility flowed into education, governance, and culture. Stories preserved memory where structures changed. Samurai became figures of history rather than daily presence. Their legacy continued shaping ideas of duty and self-control. Through centuries of adaptation, the samurai demonstrated that strength could transform without vanishing, proving that identity rooted in discipline and honor can endure long after swords are sheathed, guiding societies through change with memory, restraint, and purpose.